I watched a man destroy his own car, ruin his lawnmower, and permanently lose his freedom in a single afternoon. And the best part? He did it entirely to himself. He thought I was just a blind, stupid neighbor he could steal from whenever he pleased. He thought there were no consequences for walking onto my property and taking what was mine. He was dead wrong. This is the story of how a 5-gallon gas can and a little bit of patience helped me send a neighborhood parasite straight to jail. If you love hearing about arrogant people getting exactly what they deserve, hit that subscribe button right now. I post stories like this every week, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. My backyard was my sanctuary. After a brutal 50-hour work week, my only therapy was coming home, firing up the mower and taking care of my lawn. The smell of fresh cut grass, the roar of the engine, the cold beer afterward. It was simple. It was mine. But my neighbor, let's call him Rick, was the exact opposite. Rick was a walking, talking red flag. His yard was a junkyard of broken appliances and overgrown weeds. He was loud. He was entitled. And he had this arrogant smirk, like the whole world owed him a favor. I never spoke to him. I kept my head down. But then, things started getting weird. I have a small push mower. The gas tank holds maybe 1 quart. It sips fuel. But every time I went to mow my lawn, my heavy 5-gallon gas can felt a little lighter. At first, I gaslit myself. I thought, maybe the heat evaporated it. Maybe the mower is burning rich. Maybe I didn't fill it up as much as I remembered. I checked the garage floor for puddles. Nothing. It took 3 weeks for me to accept the truth. I wasn't crazy. My gas was disappearing. Someone was walking onto my property, taking my property, and putting it right back to mock me. I felt my blood boil. This was years ago. Ring cameras weren't really a thing yet, so I had to get creative. I dug out an old webcam, taped it to the inside of my back window, and downloaded a cheap motion detection software on my laptop. I left for work the next morning. 5 minutes later, ding. An email alert. I opened the footage. There he was, Rick. Walking into my yard like he owned the place, casually grabbing my gas can, and strolling back to his side of the fence. He didn't even look over his shoulder. He was that confident. I sat in my car in the office parking lot, shaking with rage. I wanted to march over there and break his nose. But guys like Rick, they live for drama. They feed on chaos. I didn't want a screaming match. I wanted destruction. So I formulated a plan. A disgusting, beautiful, completely legal plan. For the next 7 days, I didn't flush. Every time nature called, I made a deposit into a very specific container. By Friday, I had a full 5 gallons of pure, unadulterated human waste. I poured it directly into my red gas can. It smelled awful, but underneath the fumes, it still had just enough of that sharp gasoline scent to fool an absolute idiot. Saturday morning. Showtime. I put the special gas can exactly where I always left it on the back patio. Then, I put on a performance. I opened my car trunk. I packed 3 heavy bags. I slammed the doors loudly. I made damn sure Rick saw me leaving for a long weekend trip. I drove around the block, parked 3 streets over, and sneaked back into my house through the basement window. And then, I waited. It took exactly 1 hour. I heard the sputtering first. I peeked through my blinds. There was Rick in his front yard. He was pulling the starter rope on his mower so hard I thought his shoulder was going to dislocate. The mower coughed. It choked. It spat out a foul, thick white smoke that smelled like a burning porta potty. Rick's face was turning bright, tomato red. He was cursing loudly, kicking the metal frame. The engine seized entirely. It was dead. But the trap wasn't done yet. Rick, being the genius he is, figured his mower was just a piece of junk. So, What did he do with the rest of my gas? He poured it straight into his car. He got in, slammed the door, and sped off. He made it exactly 2.5 blocks. The engine knocked so loudly it echoed down the street. Then, total failure. The car died right in the middle of an intersection. I walked out to my patio, checked my gas can. Empty. I smiled. But remember when I said Rick was a parasite? Well, my missing gas wasn't his only crime. While I was doing background research on him earlier that week, I found out something interesting. Rick had multiple active arrest warrants for unpaid fines and petty theft. So, I made a phone call. I applied for the local sheriff's community ride-along program. I requested to patrol my specific neighborhood. 2 days later, I was sitting in the passenger seat of a police cruiser when we spotted an abandoned, broken-down car blocking the road. Rick was standing by his ruined car waiting for a tow truck. The deputy ran his plates. The warrants popped up. I sat comfortably in the air-conditioned cruiser, drinking an iced coffee, watching the deputy slap cold steel handcuffs on my neighbor's wrists. When they put him in the back of the cruiser, he looked through the metal mesh and made eye contact with me. I just smiled, raised my coffee cup, and gave him a little nod. His engine was destroyed. His mower was ruined. And he spent the next month sitting in a county jail cell. I bought a new gas can the next day. And my lawn? It's never looked greener. What would you have done if you caught your neighbor stealing from you? Let me know your most brutal revenge ideas in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this dose of liquid karma, hit like, and I'll see you in the next story.